Sometimes the coolest things are hidden in the most unexpected places. Tucked away inside a huge mobile game is this feature that's so powerful, it's become a legit music studio for a giant online community. We are talking about Composer Island from My Singing Monsters. It's this amazing place where gaming and creativity just smash together.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. The game's own lore calls it a fantastic dream space, and that's the perfect way to put it. This isn't just another level you play through. It's like a bridge between our world and theirs, a blank canvas where players get to make their own magic.
So, let's break it down. What is Composer Island, really? Well, it's a special island in the game that's basically a blank slate. The monsters here don't have some song they're programmed to sing. Nope, you become the composer. You write the music for them, note by single note. The easiest way to wrap your head around it is this. Picture a music-making app, something like GarageBand. Now just delete all the digital pianos and drum kits and replace them with this whole cast of super quirky, totally charming monsters. Each one has its own unique sound. That's Composer Island.
Okay, so let's dig into this island as a creative space, as a kind of virtual recording studio where the artists are, monstrous.
So this thing's actually been around for a while, since back in 2016. The fundamental idea is pretty simple. You buy your monsters, you plop them down on the island, and that gives you access to a musical staff where you can tell them exactly which notes to sing or play.
So how does it actually work? How do you get these monsters to build a song? Well, the real beauty of Composer Island is just how easy it is to get started, even if you've never made a piece of music in your life. The official tutorials lay it out in 4 super simple steps. First, you grab a monster from the market. Maybe you start with something like Clamble to get a beat going. Then you tap on it and hit Compose. That opens up this musical sheet where you can just tap to place notes, which look like little monster eggs, and finally, you press play, listen to what you made, and save it. It's that easy.
And right there, that's your starting point. You can layer a drum track, maybe add a bass line with a monster like Mammoth, and then put a nice little melody on top with a singer like Furcorn. It's really designed to feel like a fun, intuitive toy.
Okay, but this is where the story gets really interesting. If the tools are that simple, that straightforward, how in the world is the community creating these unbelievably complex, note-for-note perfect covers of songs from like Coldplay to Kanye West?
The answer, it turns out, isn't just about what's in the game. It's about how the community took this simple tool and turned it into a full-blown composition machine.
Here's the secret. The most dedicated creators out there, they're not just winging it. They're basically acting as musical transcribers. They go online, find professional sheet music for pretty much any song you can think of, and then they get to work.
And this is the aha moment. It shows you the whole translation process. On the left, you've got your standard, traditional sheet music, the language for human musicians. And on the right, you have the Composer Island staff. The absolute genius of the community is meticulously translating the notes from one to the other, one monster egg at a time.
And trust me, it is a process. First, they find the sheet music. Then they have to fiddle with the game settings to match the song's exact tempo and key. After that comes the really hard part, transcribing every single instrument's part, figuring out which monster sounds the most like a violin or a synth. And to create chords, they actually place multiple copies of the same monster, each one playing a different note at the same time.
So what does all that painstaking work actually sound like? Well, let's check out what happens when a dedicated community pushes a simple tool to its absolute breaking point.
And the results are just wild. I mean, you can get the huge sweeping strings of Coldplay's Viva La Vida.
Or you can just pivot to a completely different universe and get the iconic soulful samples of Kanye's Bound 2.
And it's not just old classics either. The community is on top of today's viral TikTok hits, like this monster version of Lil Uzi Vert's Just Wanna Rock. The range is just incredible.
Right, so to be super clear, we're not talking about simple little melodies here. These are complex, multi-track arrangements that can take dozens of monsters all perfectly synced up, all to bring these famous songs to life in like the most bizarre and wonderful way you can imagine.
And all of this, it points to something much, much bigger than just a single game. It really says a lot about where creativity and gaming are headed.
So why does any of this matter? Because Composer Island is way more than just a game feature. It's basically an intro to music production, a DAW for a whole new generation. It empowers this global community to get their hands dirty with music composition. And it completely blurs the line between just playing a game and actually creating art inside of it.
The biggest takeaway here is that powerful creative tools aren't just for the pros anymore. Sometimes they're hidden inside a world you already love.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, from Minecraft to My Singing Monsters, games are becoming these incredible platforms for creativity. So the big question we're left with is, what's next? What's going to be the next great creative tool we find hidden inside a game?